Joining us on the show today, a name that needs absolutely no introduction. I think you all know of Kalyani Chawla. Kalyani, thanks so much for joining us today.
Pleasure.
She's the founder of Rezon Luxury Silverware. She's also known for her work as formerly VP of Dior Couture here in India. She's still a luxury consultant. She's also has a flair for interior design, for marketing, for art, and she still has her fingers in many pies. We've got lots to talk about today. Kalyani, where did your journey as an entrepreneur, because you are a serial entrepreneur. I was, reading up about the several businesses that you've had over the years, and you've always been onto something. So, did you always know you wanted to kind of be creative, or was it more about a passion for a particular industry? How did your journey begin?
As calculated as my life seems to be, it's been the opposite. Opportunities and risks. Opportunities that have come my way, and I've always said, okay, why not? Let me try it. My mistakes have been my biggest lessons, and I've made many more than anyone else I know. But
I love that you started the episode with that, because that's just so important, and we're going to ask you about some of them as well. Tell us the story. Yeah.
I think, a bit of a maverick in my head, and I don't really always think about the end result. I've always followed my heart, never my mind. Biggest mistake most times, but I also go with my gut instinct.
Okay.
So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Everyone says, oh, you must follow your gut and, it's always true. No, it's absolutely not. Because I don't know anyone who's had as many false alarms as I have had, So the gut issues are major, health-wise too. But no, I think, I've gone from one thing to the other as well. So in my head, I think it's always been, why not?
Right.
And it's whether it's running 4 magazines. Like, what did I ever know about running 4 magazines for Indian Express, 4 completely diverse magazines? I was working for Oberoi Hotels, which was my first job, and all my learnings from Mr. Oberoi himself. How fortunate, and just it was, I think, the basis unknowingly of whatever was going to come in the future. About luxury.
Yeah.
And I was in sales and marketing. I was all of 21 years old, thrown into the corporate world, and just dealing with it. And I think I did a pretty good job, set some amazing records at that time. I think it was literally the foundation of my luxury, kind of jobs that I got with luxury. The fact that I'm in luxury till today, with my silverware brand, which is a luxury brand, and the understanding of it. And because of which I also had the kind of experiences which, whether it was running the 4 magazines for Indian Express, opportunities that came up while I was at the magazine, met the most amazing people, and I knew I could write, but I didn't know how well I could write, because it's not the same thing as just writing a diary or something like that,
Exactly.
It's just, but I did it, and it was amazing, and that
high of achieving something that you don't even know you could do.
Achieving something which is totally alien, by the way, over and over again.
Yeah.
I mean, from Oberoi Hotels to Indian Express, running 4 magazines, going into export of leather accessories.
And you did that for many years.
Years, supplying to some of the best brands across the world, international brands across the world, going into all that culminated into me getting Dior, which overlapped, by the way, during my export days. My Dior office used to be in my factory, believe it or not.
What?
Yeah, we didn't have an office in India, and the showroom, my showroom of Dior was in my factory in Noida. Can you believe it?
I can't
For
believe
4
it.
years,
Yeah.
So I think it was a very nascent time, and I've got so many stories really to share about how this exodus of international brands came into India. I mean, Pia Singh, it was her baby, DLF, the Emporio. Dior had to sign up to actually make that mall happen, where, you know, because you need a few good brands. And so we sat and we changed the entire geography. I'm like, no, Dior has to be here, and da, 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 you know, so changing it on, and okay, Cartier goes there, Fendi goes here, Louis Vuitton was already there. It was a very exciting time. I've never done this in my life before.
But you seem
know,
to have a knack for
but
it. You seem
I
to have a
just,
knack for it.
I just get into things, and then that happened. And of course, you know, the whole movement with print media, and I knew how it works because of my past experience. So, you know, I kind of, the whole business of fashion magazines, for lifestyle fashion magazine, there was nothing available. There was Femina.
Yeah, true.
The
For the
oldest
longest
magazine
time.
for the
Yeah.
longest time, and that was it, you know. There was Condé Nast, which came in with their plethora of publications. Hearst came in with Bazaar, and you know, I was there, the launch of Bazaar. I did a massive spread, India calling. I still remember, it was one of the best shoots I've ever done, you know, and it was like just such a stunning shoot, because he took out archival things, including the sari from Mr. Dior, which he had made.
Oh,
So,
wow.
and then the launch of Dior in India. I mean, those are events no one who attended will ever forget, you know. And it was such a learning more than anything else, Aabha. I learned so much. I mean, the roses have to be 6 inches to put into a vase, which was little less than that, so that the roses came over it.
Oh my gosh.
So, you know,
Perfection.
perfection. But that started with Mr. Oberoi.
I was going to say.
That started with
that's
Mr.
his
Oberoi.
style.
My first job interview, he was tearing a brand new suite down, and I got the job. And I went to see the suite, which he didn't want and wanted it torn down. He said it was pink and not salmon, and Oberoi Hotels, the corporate, like, you know, people who come, they don't want to stay in a pink suite. Well, it wasn't really pink.
But it wasn't
Pinkish,
salmon.
but it wasn't salmon. And that's the day I learned that you don't compromise. You don't compromise on anything that you believe in. You don't compromise on quality. And I don't compromise on quality even till today. With my work, I'm completely anal about what I do in any aspect of my life. I take on something if I can do it well. And I don't do it if I think I can't do justice to it. And I think it's the only way to be.
Yeah.
And today I feel, you know, there's that lack of the younger generation. There's always so many shortcuts. And that dedication, determination, hard work, somewhere down the line, you know, there's no hunger. Unless you have hunger. I did have hunger because it was in my head that I had to be the best. I mean, you know, it's always within me. There's this, I've never ever, my competition has been me. Always. It sounds very Miss India, but honestly, it's not. Because as you know, with my experience, and it's, okay, if I've done this, I can do better, and I can do this. And you know, so, and I've always been a risk taker, I think. And I think that has been,
I think you have.
I mean, it's paid off. It's paid off. So, yeah.
Things have worked. As many
It's worked.
mistakes as you have made,
It's
but
worked.
things have worked. Yeah.
It has.
Yeah.
It
And
has.
in your current work, and what you were saying about drive and hard work, I mean, you know, every time I see you, I know how exhausted you are,
Yes.
and the kind of, you know, amazing exhibits you've been putting up, how quickly you've been expanding. So I know you've really been at it. So I'm mentioning because it doesn't get easier. It's you know, the bigger you're growing, it's just as much more responsibility you have to continue to drive that brand, and you seem to be loving it.
You know, I created Rezon 7 years ago. I started this company, not really sure about what I'm doing because I know nothing about producing silver, but I found that there were a lot of, I'm a consumer, I love homeware. I mean, I carry back all sorts of things when I travel, and I just love doing up a beautiful table. I entertain a lot, and I love having my friends over, etc. But you know, that little perfectionist in me, so there has to be beautiful things around me. I live alone, and I want to I want to enter my little haven because that's my time to be home, and I want to be surrounded by a certain beauty, you know,
Aesthetic, yeah.
aesthetics. And there were so many things which are missing in the market. You know, like I'll give you a small example. Um, have you ever seen a really nice bar set anywhere? There are bar sets.
Yeah, but not
nothing that you want to buy really.
It's true.
You know,
it's
something's very basic, and of course it's there, but
awkward.
very
A lot of them are
basic. But
awkward.
there's no design aesthetic. For you know, I have everything literally from a caviar bowl to a cigar holder. I have about 800 SKUs. That's 800 different kinds of items.
800 SKUs.
That's insane. That's insane, and I keep adding to it. And everything for a baby, everything for a wedding. I mean, the wedding business is huge. It's a $39 billion business. If I get 0.00001%, I'd be happy.
Yeah, no, but that's brilliant because you're clearly seeing the business opportunity here. And I want to establish that because it's not, you know, it's not like some pet project to open one store and do a few exhibitions.
This is my bread and butter. This is not a hobby for me, you know. So this is, I mean, I'm in the factory every day. I'm a factory girl. I'm in Noida every single day because one is being hands-on, but also I think, you know, your people need you around. I mean, they are not self-motivated for sure. So you need to be around, you know. And I love going to work. And, you know, the whole technique, this handcrafting, it's just from a flat sheet of metal, how they hammer, it's as archaic as it gets. It's hundreds of years old, the skill. And it's come down generations, you know. It's just fascinating. I just sit in my workshop and I'm just looking at these people just making as basic as a glass, but it was a flat sheet of metal yesterday. And it's just fabulous, fabulous. And it's a learning every day. And I feel really proud, and it's a different kind of a high. And over the years, I think the last few years, I mean, I had the worst luck, of course. I opened a store, March 2020, a big retail store, which I have now. And I still have these videos because I do so much of these buck on the Instagram. Funnily enough, that's the only thing that works, which is amazing. And I say, health is wealth. See you back in a couple of weeks.
And that's it.
Wealth. Health. Oh my God, it was horrible, like for 2 years. But I remember running, like opening the you know, the shutter, running inside, making video calls. Can you imagine? I did 2 pandemic weddings, massive weddings, one in Calcutta, one in Madras. And they were like, can you actually do this for us? I'm like, I'm going to do this for you.
There you go.
You know, and I did, because, you know, there was these gaps that we came back to work and we just worked like maniacs, and like of course I took on something I knew I could do, you know. And crazy times, you know, the whole world went upside down with the pandemic. It was really awful, but I've come out of it and it's just fine.
And you're raring to go.
Raring to go.
So what's next for you? Because like I said, you've done so many various things and you're always onto one thing to the other, and you have them going on simultaneously. So of course this is your you know, big sort of chunk of your time and focus is on this. I know you've got a show coming up. You may not talk about it, but I know you're probably filming for that. Are you still also busy with your consultancy?
I do consult. You know, especially with luxury brands wanting to come into India right now, and independently, who are not with the 2 big conglomerates, you know, corporate conglomerates that are very prevalent now, which is amazing. So yes, I'm consulting with that. You know, this year, Aabha, I just want to slow down a little bit, and I think it's kind of, I'm tired now, I'm exhausted, and as everyone keeps saying, oh, but Kalyani, you can't just sit at home and do nothing. I said, dude, try me. Like, yes, I can. I just want to be home and not wake up in the morning and, you know, rushing to work and thinking of the, you know, whatever it does, and to kind of drive my business, where, I mean, you know, and it's a small company, and it's not like I have like hundreds of employees. So I pretty much do everything myself, and I'm very hands-on, and I'm at work, of course, every day. So this year, you know, my daughter lives in London, and Tyra's been gone since she was 11 and a half. And it was out of I think, a very good decision because I've given her the best education, that's
Yeah.
for sure. I'm broke also because of it. But anyway, no, she's my only investment, and that's the only way to look at it.
Again,
And
I think that's more power to you.
yeah. So I think it was tough, you know, being a single parent, but I mean, I'm not going to whine about it because honestly, there are women going through much worse, and there's much worse. And that's all I have ever been actually taught by my mom. She used to always say, please count your blessings and not, you know, your complaints, because you have many more blessings than your complaints. And I think that I really hold close to my heart, because I just feel that no matter, as I said, I made mistakes, I've fallen on my face, battered and bruised, but you know, I somehow there's always been that strength within me. I had an amazing parents, you know, they would never like, this is a bad marriage, for God's sake leave, we are not dead, like, you know, you have a family, you know, it was simple as that. That there was no question, you know, that, do you know how many women can never leave their marriage because their families don't want them back? And I'm not talking about some impoverished soul. No. I'm talking about industrialists. I'm talking about people who, I mean, in this day and age, they still won't let that happen. They don't give their daughters that support. Nothing is more pathetic than that, you know. So we live, and it's not just in India, I'll be honest, because you always think, oh, Indian society, we are so judgmental. We are judged everywhere. Women are judged everywhere. People are judged everywhere. Every society all over the world, you know. Of course you're judged. And I've been judged all my life, you know, because I feel that everyone thinks I'm this roller coaster, you know, like, but it's not been that. It's always been circumstantial. But I've never the kind of person who's gone out and beaten my chest and saying, oh my God, you know, or whatever it is. No, I would rather die than someone pity me. And over the years, I have realized if you let a bully bully you, they will always bully you. If you let something happen to you, which is not the right thing, you have let it happen. It's very easy to say that. But as I've grown older, I have realized there is no need for you to tolerate something which is against your grain.
Got it.
But you see, I know how difficult it is for most women. In our society where women really suffer for judgment that is going to be passed, a young girl tells me she's from a very progressive family, very cool parents, and then she has a boyfriend, she lives in, you know, LA, and Indian parents who live in India. And she's been seeing this boy, they're going to get married, they've been seeing each other since 8 years old, living abroad. I said, you know, I mean, just she was showing me her beautiful apartment on the phone, and I'm like, oh, so you guys living together? And I was saying, no, mom will never allow it. She's saying, what do people think? I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you know, I mean, how does it even matter? Because you're going on holidays together. You know, it's like, it just, it starts from your home, your own mother, your own grandmother. I mean, okay, grandmother, I can still imagine, but I had a grandmother who got me my first string bikini.
Really?
When I was 13, it disappeared into my mother's cupboard, never to be found again. She's like, what? And my grandmother, who's a voracious traveler, she's like, you know, that Italian guy was so cute. I'm like, Takuma, really? But that wasn't for you. She said, yeah, but I just said daughter, I didn't say granddaughter. So that's the kind of background I come from, like super progressive, not religious at all. We did our puja part and, you know, believed in a God. But, you know, I've jumped singing Hare Rama, Hare Krishna at ISKCON. My grandfather used to love the food there, I suspect. It had nothing to do with the spirituality of it at all. So I've done that. So suddenly I wanted to become an ISKCON bhakt. So I was jumping Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. Then I was in a convent school in Loreto House in Calcutta. I suddenly wanted to become a nun.
You wanted to be a nun?
I wanted to be a nun.
That's, oh my God, that is just
I did want to be a nun. Because, yeah, it's, oh Jesus.
We should have so had a bottle of wine for this shoot. Like, you know.
Oh Jesus, indeed. But it's true, I want to become a nun. But So I didn't become a nun
Clearly,
because
clearly.
I went to drop a nun to see her sister at this particular church where I'm not sure about the term, but she hadn't seen her sister in 10 years or 12, 15 years or probably more. And it was like a very strict, there's no outside communication. And she just went to drop, I think, a little cake or something for her, but she couldn't see her sister. And she
Aw.
took me with her. It broke my heart. I'm like, okay, if this is what that's
Yeah,
about, and I
then-
do.
yeah.
No, I ain't doing this. No, there was a I mean, you know, when you grow up, they were this embedded in mystery. You know, I used to have this beautiful Sister Caroline, I remember, and they were all Irish, you know, Irish nuns. And she was just gorgeous, and she was so young. So and we all discussed, like, why is she a nun? Like, you know, she's so beautiful.
So beautiful.
And then, of course, you have your Sound of Music,
Yes,
you know,
yeah.
going on.
Nice is whenever someone
Yeah.
says nun, we just imagine
Yeah.
Sound of Music.
There's a happily
Yeah,
ever
exactly,
after there.
yeah.
I said, oh my God. So I made up this whole story about how she'd been jilted in love. And that's how she became a
Oh.
nun. In that case, I should have been a nun many times over.
Oh,
In a way.
God.
Yeah, so
No, but you know, okay, since we're talking about this,
Yeah.
you're a very beautiful woman. And on top of that, you've been in the limelight, you've been in the hospitality industry, the fashion industry. How do you manage, you know, dynamics with men? And because everyone must be hitting on you.
actually they don't. Actually they don't.
I cannot believe that, first of all.
Aabha, I sometimes feel I have horns in my head which I actually can't see.
What?
Yeah, since I was actually a teenager, like we go to a party, right? And you know, they used to have this dance floor with those funny disco lights
Yeah.
and rum punches, which actually didn't have any alcohol because none of us could afford it. And then there were these chairs and there were these boys and these girls, and the boys would come and ask someone for a dance, so the girl on my right and the girl on my left, but wouldn't ask me. I've never understood this. And it carries on.
I can't,
But-
I just can't fathom.
Yes, because it's just one of those things. I don't know.
I mean, other
it's a
people would say
mystery.
intimidated or something, like you're saying, horns in
So
your head. But
that's the thing, as you know, this whole thing about men being intimidated by me, I don't want to be with someone who's intimidated
Of
by
course,
me.
yeah.
You know, it's just like as you grow older, you just understand that. And, you know, of course, I'm ready for companionship and all that stuff. But then, even my failed relationships, it doesn't matter, married, not married. It's we've had good times, and you know, I'm not a bitter human being.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, like, you know, still crying about, you know, whatever didn't work out. But you know, at this stage of my life, I need a man. The problem is, Aabha, men my age don't want a woman my age.
that's true.
Men in 50s,
Yeah.
they want women who are 30s. So, I mean, they're not really willing to sit and have a conversation and find out how engaging I am and what an amazing, bright personality and how I can keep them entertained, pandemic or not pandemic.
But I'm so
Damn.
glad you're calling this out. I
Yeah.
mean, we all talk about it, but you're
Yeah.
calling it out. I mean, if someone as accomplished as yourself is saying
I'm
this,
telling you, or I'm this cougar. I mean, I have visions of my daughter who's 24 years old, and my daughter who's putting me onto dating apps. She says, Mama, you have to go on Raya, which I don't go on.
But you know,
it's like,
but it's not. I mean, it's not a bad thing.
no,
for
it's not a
young
bad
girls,
thing,
it's
and
not a bad thing.
maybe I'll get there. But
Maybe we need to go for a holiday to Italy, right? Maybe we need to.
I
Find
always go on holidays with my daughter, and it's like when they see her,
Yeah, of
you know, this
course.
huge. So you have a little child running around; it's still acceptable. Then you have this full-grown adult. I think that's what I really should do this summer. Go on holidays without her.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've got a plan.
I can't
here.
do
I think
that.
we have a.
You know, for 2-3 days alone, I just want to, you know, be with her because she's been away for so long. And I really miss her, and I feel in so many ways I've kind of missed out on a major part of her life.
And to
But-
also have that support, someone kind of in it with you in
Yes.
a sense, right? Like you
Yes.
said, if you want to just kind of breathe for a moment
Yes.
and enjoy all that you've done,
Yeah.
you know, with her by your side.
Yeah, but you know, also Aabha, everything, you know, that I've done and achieved, and of course there are points where, or times that I feel lonely because how much you do, like go out alone and go to parties alone, go for holidays. I'm never really alone, but I have amazing friends and I have a huge support system around me. I don't belong to Delhi. I came here 27 years ago. I can literally make a plan in a minute, and I've got different groups of friends. Delhi's so cliquish, and if someone invites you, you know exactly who's going to be there.
True.
You don't have to ask, like, so who have you called? I know who's going to be there. So my dinners actually, I always try and mix up people. It's so much more fun. But the thing is that I do have so many different groups of friends, so many really good friends who've always been there for me, and I value that in my life. I really value my relationships, and that also I think I give more than, I never expect anything back, But I think it's all good. It's all good, and you don't have to make this, having a relationship, having a man to be the some center,
as if something's
central point of concern in my life right now. I'm just fine, and yes, of course I want it, but it's not like I wouldn't use the word desperate, but it's not a priority.
Sure.
Because I just feel that I believe in fate and destiny. There was a time I could have bought a house on Amrita Shargar Marg or Prithviraj Roads with all the money I have spent on astrologers and pundits and doing pujas. Seriously, I could have bought a house by now.
I love that you're saying this because, like you said right in the beginning, you said nothing was calculated. And it's just something so many of us can relate to, right? We've all done this. We've all gone to soothsayers trying to find miracle answers.
Yeah.
Still do.
Yeah, still do, right. And I just follow energies now, which are coming from weird sources in my head. Many false alarms, but that's fine.
It's okay. I think, like you said, it's all about opportunities and sometimes risk and opportunities.
Risk and opportunities.
And as long as you end up on the better side of the bargain down the road.
You have to
you're
take
all good.
risks, You have to take risks in life in general, because, and also I believe in change, and without change there's no progress. It's as simple as that. It's been said many times, but you have to have the guts in a lot of ways, because I've jumped from one industry to the other, from where there's hospitality to publications to luxury to whatever. But it's all kind of interconnected. I've always been in fashion. I was, in Calcutta, I think I was like a sore thumb, because I remember my 18th birthday. So I wore my mother's Banarasi sari as a dhoti. I went and got a band gala made, and I put a turban on my head with some other fabric. Yeah, and so I was this crazy person,
at the
it wasn't
time,
so
it would have been
crazy.
very
It wasn't so crazy, and the only thing
yeah.
that I asked, because my family, everyone travels so much, and I used to just ask for Vogue and all these fashion magazines, and those were my Bible. Like nothing mattered. And then we used to have a permanent tailor in my house, and my grandmother, who was this fashionista, and I think I get it from her, I used to paint her toenails with a Helena Rubinstein scarlet red nail polish on Sunday. I had to take it off and put it on for her again. That was my duty. Anyway, she was
such delicious memories.
Character. She's in the bikini.
Yes.
Yeah, same one. Yeah. So, but I also have grown up in this culture. My Nana Nani, they were very different, just the opposite, like my grandparents have really shaped my life. My Takuma, my Dadi, she was this whole fashionista and love for that. My grandfather was a pioneer in his business, so the whole business angle. That's my paternal side. My maternal uncle, my maternal grandfather, he was a freedom fighter, very, very, very apolitical. He was a writer, he was a journalist. The Congress, the Nepalese Congress was born in my grandfather's house, and I would love to name drop, but I have like luminaries of our history, modern Indian history, who I've grown up with, And my Nani, my Dida, was the quintessential Bengali woman. So I get a mix of everything from them. I'm very traditional. I'm a modern Indian woman, but seeped in with traditions. And I think, it's just my upbringing. Calcutta, I'm a vociferous Bengali, and I think it's been a fantastic childhood, and I think I had the best of everything.
And I think you're just such an amalgamation of so many wonderful things, of whether it's your personality, your interests, your business skills, your you know, the various industries, like you said, your childhood. It's been
Yes.
fascinating listening to you, Kalyani. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank
on
you,
Lady
Aabha, for
Suli.
having me.